Having taught hundreds and hundreds of clients from all over the world and helping them sing better, today I really wanted to tackle, what's one of the biggest things that hold, singers, from beginners, intermediate, to even advanced from getting to the level of singing that they want. Hey everyone, my name is Ivan and I help adult beginners sing with more confidence. And welcome to the Singing Simply show. This is where we cover things from techniques, mindset, anything to help you get your voice to the next level. And if this is your first episode, first of all, warm welcome to the family. And if you're returning, if you're checking out this episode again, once again, warm welcome to the family. And today, as you might notice from the title, from the intro, I want to talk more about, one of the things that's holding most singers back, right? From beginners, from intermediate, from advanced singers, right? What's one of the things that are holding people back? And we are going to go a bit deeper today. And some of you might even get triggered by what I'm about to say, right? Might be listening to this podcast or video, wherever you're joining me from, and you're like, screw you, Ivan. You might be like that. Who knows, right? Or maybe you won't be. And if that's you, take what you can from this episode. And I hope this also changes you and, gives you some insight into what's going to happen. So let's actually start here, right? Why do most people not get to the results that they want, right? Why do people, get started with singing and then a couple of months down the track, they give up, or, they want to record YouTube covers, but nothing happens, right? I'm sure you've noticed that before. And, we have these goals, we have these dreams, we have these things that we want to do, but we don't get there. We end up not getting there, right? And isn't it interesting to get curious about why this happens, right? Why this happens. And, often this could come up as many different reasons, I didn't have time, or, singing was really hard, or I didn't know what to do, or whatever things come up for you, right, is whatever comes up for you. And it can come up in many, many different ways. And it's going to be so important for us to, go a bit deeper and understand what's one of the root things that's driving all of this. And so, if we could tackle and find this at this root cause, then all of a sudden, all those bubble kind of reasons, they dissipate. And then you actually end up getting to where you want. And so let's distill all of this in, right, and talk about, why exactly are you not getting the results that you want? And why are, maybe you stuck? Why you might be stuck at the moment, right, with your voice and not seeing the results that you want. And basically this comes down to a very, very simple idea. Very, very, very simple idea, which is patience, right? Most people don't have the patience or don't have, the grit, the determination to see things to the end, right? I notice this in parts of my life as well. I'm not saying that I've overcome all of this, right? But I noticed this. We don't have the patience. And part of this is it contradicts with singing, because secretly we all know this, right? Learning to sing, learning to get really, really good at singing takes time, it takes effort, it takes deliberate practice, it takes investment, right? Most of the people who are working with me in Summit, the reason why I now do 3-month programs and 12-month programs is because learning to sing takes time. I'm not really interested in working with people who are coming in for that 1 or 2 sessions, right? 1 or 2 sessions and then they think they're done, right? Because learning to sing is something that takes time. And in fact, some of the best singers in the world are those who've really acknowledged this principle, right? Some of them who are just lifelong learners, right? They're always learning and they started from such an early age as well. And so not having patience is often the stem, right? It's the thing that holds us all back because, and I don't blame you all, right? And I don't blame you all and I don't blame myself for this, because even as a voice coach, one of the things that we do is we're constantly posting vocal hacks, vocal tricks, vocal tips, or all these kind of things which, can give the illusion that you're maybe just one tip or trick away from learning to sing to your heartstring, right? Singing your favorite song. And for certain people, right, it could be, Sometimes having a little trick or little tip can really get their voice into a better shape. And I'm so thankful for YouTube because there's so much good information out there as well, right? But just know this, right? These are all tricks, tips, and hacks. Tips, tricks, and hacks, which means they aren't there a complete system. They're not there to get to you to exactly where you want, but they're these little ideas, these little clues that can nudge you in the right direction. And so if you come in and you think, hey, if I just do these tips and tricks and hacks, I'm going to get to where I want. You could absolutely do it, but it's not going to be the best use of your time, right? And so just understand this, right? Patience and not having the patience is the thing. And, I often see this kind of show up with a lot of my students, especially some of the newer ones where we have to kind of adjust, get their expectations real, which is, I want to sing like Ariana. I want to sing like this person. I want to do all of these things. Right? And I love aiming high. I love aiming high. There's goals of mine that I'm trying to achieve as well. And I often set them quite high. But then when you ask them about how long they think it's going to take or what sort of workload they need to do, then that reveals a lot about how much patience that they've got. Some people are telling me that they want to sing like Ariana in the next 2 months, right? And maybe you've got it, right? Who knows, right? I'm always open to possibilities. But if we really dig down and dive deep, right? Ariana did not get to where she wanted to be in 2 months, right? And so this is often showing up and manifesting as I don't have patience, right? Or maybe after 2 months of singing and you're working on your voice and you're frustrated at your progress. You're not seeing the progress that you wanted to have, right? And then you start blaming things. You say, oh my gosh, it's my teacher sucks, or like it's my voice, I don't have a gift, I don't have talent. Then you start blaming things. And once again, this is just another way of manifesting that, hey, you don't have the patience for it. You just don't have the patience for your singing at the moment, right? And notice how all this bubbles from this core concept of not having patience. And so if you can, find a way, wrap your head around this, that, singing takes time. It honestly takes time and it takes patience, right? Then you're well on your way. You're well on your way to getting to where you want as well. And in fact, I want to kind of get you started with a couple of tips, a couple of things that I've tried for myself and things that I'm still working on, but I've noticed that they just give me so many results, give me so much results. And so here are a couple of ideas on how do we overcome this. Like now that we know the thing that's holding us back is not because, that tip or trick didn't work, right? But more because we don't have the underlying patience and understanding that singing takes time. And so here are a couple of ways to overcome it. So number one, reset your expectations. Let's talk about expectations. You can either reset your expectations or you can adjust your behavior. If you wanted to get to a certain place, right, you either, reset your expectations. Maybe it's like, oh, hey, hang on. Like maybe that was too audacious as a goal, or maybe that wasn't challenging enough. Reset your expectations, right? Because, if you're expecting that, if I just practice once a week, or like I take a lesson once every 2 months, or I take a lesson once every month, and I can get to where I want, right? And you've set a really, really high goal, right? It might be time for you to reset your expectations. And there was this quote that I heard, and my girlfriend shared it with me, and it was so good. It was so good, right? And the quote goes like this: don't be upset by the results you didn't get with the work that you didn't do. And this might trigger some of you. It might trigger some of you all, because especially in this kind of modern world, we've all been conditioned to ease and convenience. Everything's just so easy. Everything's just going to come to you, right? Uber Eats, right? Uber, the internet, right? All of these things are just going to come to us so easy, right? And sometimes we forget that, good things take time. Good thing takes time to build. Developing a good voice takes time to build. And often when we don't see the results, we get upset. We're like, oh my gosh, like, is there something wrong with me? No, not at all. It's just, that's just the simple way things is. Like getting a better voice takes time. It takes time. Honestly, it takes time, and it takes, sometimes a lifetime. So number one is reset your expectations, or adjust your behavior. What this means is if you're not getting the results that you want, you're not getting to the goal that you want, maybe it's time to look at how you're even working towards it. Are you actually doing the work, right? Or maybe you are doing the work. Are you doing enough of the work? Are you doing it with the right attitude? Are you coming to your singing lessons with questions, with curiosity, with a notepad? Or are you just rocking up and, just doing it, right? You either reset your expectations or you adjust your behavior, right? And I've seen this happen time and time again with my summer clients. When they first come on, they're like, I'm just gonna practice, practice once every 2 weeks, practice once every couple of days, right? And that's totally cool. Totally cool if that's what you want to do. But often by the time they do our first open mic, they're like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun, and now I want to set my goals here. But there's this little realization often for them that the way they were doing things, the work that they were doing isn't just going to cut it anymore. And so I've noticed this with a couple of my clients, right? Once they've set this goal and they've had this realization, they start to adjust their behaviors like crazy. And this is the power of surrounding yourself with like-minded people who actually want to do the work and grow. I noticed they're practicing more. They're doing things out of their own free will. They're getting calendars, marking days that they practice because they had to adjust their behavior. They chose not to adjust their expectation. They chose to adjust their behavior. And so this is little tip number one. Now, number two, how do we overcome this idea of not having patience and understanding that singing takes time, right? The second part is also double down on how you're practicing. Double down on how you're practicing, right? Because now that we know that singing takes time to develop, right? Getting the right voice takes time and it takes patience. It now becomes also really important on what are the things that you're going to do daily, weekly, monthly to get you to those goals, right? Because here's the reality, shortcuts are not the answer, vocal hacks are not the training. The seasoning is not the actual dish, right? They are part of it, right? And so if you're trying to just, check out a YouTube video here and there, trying to take a shortcut, maybe listen to a podcast here and there, and you're thinking that that's going to get you to exactly where you want, it might be a bit of an illusion. Right? And I think these things can help, right? But remember, they're seasoning. They're seasoning. What do we need here is focus and structure. Having a structure, which is what are the things that we actually need to do? How do we do them to get to where you want? And also, how am I approaching that? Am I approaching with focus? Am I doing the things that actually matter? Or am I doing a bunch of things, right? And you see this, right? I see this with a lot of people who are doing YouTube warm-ups, right? YouTube warm-ups, YouTube workouts. They are often, practicing by going through all these bunch of scales, all these workouts. And I think that's great and all. But here's the thing. It's not always focused. Sometimes you're just mindlessly doing the exercise. And you're not even trying to get better. And often when, people have done it for a couple of months, they come to me and they're like, hey, I'm still not seeing the results. If anything, I feel more confused. With my voice. And so what do we do here? What do we do here, right? We need to have a structure or a routine, right? That is going to guide you to get to where you want, right? And then also have the focus to get there as well. Have the focus, the discipline. And one of the things that's really, really cool is it doesn't take as much time as you think. What it takes here is consistency, right? For example, some of my summer clients, when they come into my program, my 3-month or 12-month, right? A lot of times I will build a routine with them that only takes 15 to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes for them to do. Then they go work on their songs. They can do everything that they need. But this is like a very structured way of getting them to where they want. And we've also got our weekly group calls where they can hang out with each other, all that kind of thing. But it really doesn't take that much time. What it takes is consistency. It's similar to investing. Some of you might know this, right? But if you are investing in money, right? The compound effect is real, right? If I started putting $20 a week into my savings or a managed fund or whatever, right? If I stack that long enough, that can build up to something really, really, really big. versus me trying to throw in a lump sum here and there, just putting in like 5 hours of practice here and there. You don't need to spend a lot of time, but you need to figure out how you're practicing. Do you have the focus and the structure? And do you have the consistency factor? If you can get those bad boys in, then you are really, really well on your way. So that's number 2, right? So number 1 was reset your expectations or adjust your behavior. Number 2 is double down on how you're practicing, right? Stop taking the shortcuts. Remember that focus and structure is key. And, consistency is a big, big winner here. The last one, right? The last little tip I've got on how do we overcome, this idea of singing takes time and, not having the patience is embrace failures. Embrace your failures. I'm sharing this through personal experience, right? And the reason why this is important is we're going to mess up. We're honestly going to mess up. Sometimes you might have a voice crack. Sometimes you might do an exercise and you think it sounds terrible. Or sometimes you might be singing on stage and you forget the lyrics. And often we create this meaning or story that it means we suck. It means we should give up. It means we should stop doing it. It means we should not be performing. We don't deserve to be a singer. We don't have the talent, right? But that's really not the case. That's really not the case. What it is just a lesson, right? What it is just you being human. What it is that you might just need to try it again. You just need to try it again. And I see this so much with people who, are first starting off. Every little mistake that they do, they'll start to judge themselves, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do it wrong again. That's not right. That's not it." And you can see them physically get agitated, right? But accept it. Let it go. Embrace these failures, right? What it means is just go try it again. Just try it again. You don't know how many times I've cracked right on stage. You don't know how many times I've cracked in front of my own voice teacher, right? And the most important thing here is embrace it, right? Take the lesson, figure out what you got to do differently next time, and don't get so emotional about it, right? And I know this is a tough pill to swallow, but once you can do this right, this is basically you accepting the longer picture. This is you having the patience. This is you understanding that singing takes time, right? And these are some little tips. If you've got any other ones, right, please share them. Please share them. I'd love to hear more. But here are the 3 tips, right? Reset your expectations or adjust your behavior. Number 2, double down on how you're practicing, right? How you're practicing matters, and it shows if you've got the patience or not. If you're constantly chasing hacks and tips, that might mean that you don't have the patience. But if you are, you're disciplined, you've got a routine, you're taking notes, you're journaling, and you're spending 15 to 20 minutes daily taking lessons, that is more of a sign of having patience. You see the longer picture. Now, number 3 is then embracing failures, right? If you're constantly judging and beating yourself down over every mistake, then that's a very, very short-term view, right? But if you can see the longer picture, which is, okay, these mistakes are just ways for me to learn. These cracks are just ways for me to learn. Then that becomes a whole different game altogether. And then you start to really get to where you want, right? You start to get to really, really, really where you want. So team, this wraps up this episode for today. If you have any thoughts, if you're like, hey, this was like too much, Ivan, let me know. And, first of all, I really appreciate it if you left a review on this, if you found this useful. And also connect with me. Connect with me on Instagram. I've got some links in the description below. I'd love to get to know you all a bit more. Just say hi, and you check out some of the content there as well. I hope that serves you too. But, check me out. And I would love to get connected with you. So apart from that, take care and remember you are not your limitations, and I'll see you for our next episode.